It was the sudden death of my father that actually changed my entire life upside down. He was the healthiest man I knew. Absolute health. He would go to the gym every day. He would eat right. He would sleep well. Everything was perfect. That man was crazy. He would cause so much chaos in our daily lives. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Indian Vedic House. Today we have Sarthak with us who has had a really difficult Ketu Mahadasha. His Ketu Mahadasha started when he was just 13 years old and right now he's 19 years old. So he has few more months to go before his Ketu Mahadasha eventually gets over. He had a terrible journey in the last six and a half years. And stay tuned and watch the whole video to hear from Sarthak what kind of journey he had to walk through. Hi Sarthak, welcome to Indian Vedic House. Hi. Okay. Thank you so much for taking time out and being willing to share your experience with our viewers. It's my pleasure, seriously. So, Sarthak, I see that you are 2004 born. You are just 19 years old as of today. Right. And your Ketu Mahadasha started when you were just 13 years old. I mean, it's such a young age, and children are still under the safe wings of their parents, right? They, no matter what happens in their life, the parents are there to take care of. They really don't have to worry about, a lot of things. And Ketu Mahadasha at this point of time, I cannot even imagine. In fact, probably before interviewing you, I would have thought that it's the best time because children do not have to worry about anything. The Ketu Mahadasha will get over by the time you step out of your house. So it's a good time. But offline, when I spoke to you, I understood that you had a really tough journey. Firstly, before we start with the discussion, I really admire the way you have handled yourself in the last 6 years. I think few more months for you to go for Ketu Mahadasha to get over. And I just hope that you continue to have that positive attitude that you have and deal with it. And getting into astrology and spirituality at such a young age, I'm sure universe has bigger plans for you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Music to my ear. So, Sarthak, you have Ketu in your first house and you are a Libra ascendant, right? Right, so, right. Ketu in the first house, I can understand how difficult or how aggressive the effects of Ketu Mahadasha would have been for you. But I would like to hear from you, what were the disappointments or the challenges that you experienced during the Ketu Mahadasha? So, when Ketu Mahadasha started, really nothing happened. In fact, I would say the first 9 months, to seriously, the first 9 months of Ketu Mahadasha were actually very, very blissful for me because during that time I had annual day, and during Ketu and Ketu Venus first half, really nothing happened. I was very, very popular. I was extremely famous in my school. Everybody knew me. Even the owner of the school knew me because I was such a great singer, dancer, actor. I was very intelligent. I had 100% marks in almost every subject. Then in the 10th month or so, I was playing cricket and then I got the information that my father had passed away. Now the thing is, my father shouldn't have passed away, technically speaking, because he was very healthy. He didn't drink ever. He didn't smoke. He never did anything unusual. He was very fit, very healthy. He would always eat the right thing, always say the right thing. To me, he was like a god. And losing him, that too very suddenly, overnight. It's not that he was admitted to the hospital. He just passed away peacefully in his sleep. And that was very, very shocking. It brought me to my knees because then I had to take a TC. I had to shift countries overnight. I had to come from Qatar to India. And that was a very painful process. The first 10 days were very painful. Now, I came to India. Okay, now, after all that struggle, Yara, everything was now coming back to normal because I had some relatives in India who helped me. After that, adjusting in school was extremely difficult. It was so difficult that I cannot even explain in words that how people would behave just because you're an NRI. I mean, I don't want to, generalize the youth population, but some Indian teenagers genuinely become offended if you talk to them even politely in English. They thought I was making fun of them, but I wasn't making fun of them. I was trying to talk normally to people, and they thought I was mocking them. So there was some miscommunication between all people. That's what Ketu does in Libra. It just doesn't. If you touch that sign, it will burn you alive. Even when I used to talk to some girls, it would be like I would just ask for notes and stuff, and they would assume the wrong thing. Well, that was just a little bit, but I understood that was Ketu doing that, and not because it was not some coincidence. That was Ketu doing that. I actually understood, and since it is in my first house, let me tell you, after the height I have right now was the same when I was 13. After the age of 13, I didn't grow 1 millimeter. Seriously, it stagnated right there, and I got a doctor's appointment, and some doctor had told me that my bones had fused, so that's why I was not growing anymore. But yeah, Dasha started at 13, and it's in my first house. Since 13, I haven't grown, not even 1 micrometer, and that's something really peculiar. Although I don't really care much, and so yeah, that's it. And after during the COVID-19 pandemic, actually I was very alone. I was with my mother, and during Ketu Rahu and Ketu Jupiter, I saw thousands of movies that helped me like to know about life, and that made me a cinephile as well.
I have no words to say, Sarthak. I mean, you have had such a terrible experience at such a young age, uh, and you have remained on the right track. I really admire you for that. And I understand you also got interested into astrology with the changes and the events that were happening in your life because you were questioning why is it happening, right? I mean, what went wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, at what age did you get inclined towards astrology?
I got very inclined learning about astrology when I was 16 years old. But from 16 and at the ages of 16 and 17, I was only looking at some PDF reports that you get online. I would always enter my date of birth in every single website possible, and then they would give you that, what do you say, that free report, So I would read one of those every day. I would install tarot and apps like Kismet, and I would enter my birth details, and they would give that superficial explanation, analysis, whatever about your life they have. General predictions, Ketu in the first house. General predictions, Sun in the 10th house. All the general ones. So reading that would be my pastime in a way. But I really wanted to learn the technical aspects of it. Basically, Jyotisha, Jyotisha. I wanted to learn since the day Ketu Shani started. I mean, the time Ketu Saturn started, on that very day, I woke up in the morning and I was like, I have to learn this devoutly, not with some random web pages, but I actually have to know what each. I mean, I started listening to lectures of Sanjay Rath religiously. I would just listen to one again and again and again, and I didn't get any true relief in Ketu Mahadasha until I learned about the law or the theory of karma. Until I learned about theory of karma, I really never had any peace of mind. After that, I had lots of peace of mind.
I think very well said, Sarthak. And I think this is the mantra. If we understand that whatever we are going through is based on our own karma, we get a lot of acceptance and mental peace because now we stop blaming others, we stop questioning everybody or the destiny. I think
Right.
you have taken all this experience so positively. I'm amazed. And then I understand that you also, I mean, because your friends were or your schoolmates, your classmates were humiliating you. You lost your dad. You had to come back from Qatar to India overnight. Uh, this must already have been really very tough for a 13, 14, 15-year-old. I can't even imagine the kind of pain that you may have experienced at that point of time. But I also understand that there were some other personal instances also which you experienced during that duration. I think your mom got into a relationship, right? Which did not turn out to
Right.
be great.
My mother, my mother was feeling really lonely. So, and I supported her. She wanted to remarry she made the decision around December 2019. And with some effort and online matches on shadi.com, etc., my mother got married by August 2020. Right. And I met him before. I met the man before. He was behaving so nicely. He was so sweet, almost as if he was too good to be true. Now, after the marriage happened, within 1 month, he completely changed his face. Completely. He was the most chaotic man you would ever meet, ever. Dealing with him, adjusting with him, we tried our best, but he would just be a nuisance everywhere. He would say the most peculiar things like, he would be offended if I didn't check his WhatsApp message within the first 2 minutes. So such very, very unusual and peculiar instances. It's very hard to put it in words. My mother, although tried her very best to adjust, but it just didn't happen. He would There would be breaks in between my mother and him, and then they would live together again to see if he has improved or my mother has improved. So this happened approximately 5 times, and with those five stays and 5 breaks, he didn't change. He would be acting the first 2 days, and then he would cause so much chaos in the household. It became really difficult for me to study. Not to mention that in Ketu Mahadasha, my IQ dropped to zero. And then he would disturb my mother, he would disturb me. He was jobless. So he would just stay at home, do nothing, always listening to some song or the other on his phone. So the thing is, he was not such a good man. He was not good, and he didn't really even try to adjust. He didn't even really try to change. He was a man of not such great character. After lots of putting up with him, finally mutually we decided to my mother and him mutually decided to separate.
Your mom
Yeah,
is really very lucky to have a son like you, Sarthak. I really mean it, because you have
thank you.
supported your mom at every step. And I mean, same for your mom as well. I think she's a great mom, I'm sure. And I wish a lot of power to you as well as to your mom.
Thank you so much.
So, Sarthak, I don't know why. I mean, your story seems to be so different than most people, because this is the first time I'm meeting somebody who has had such a tough time during Ketu Mahadasha at such a young age. But I'm sure there are more people who are going through similar kind of events in their life or similar experiences at such delicate age. So, because you have, managed to remain calm, balanced, positive, would you have any advice for other people, other children, I would say rather, who may be experiencing similar instances in their lives during Ketu Mahadasha at an early age?
Well, for children, the thing is, if they have not lost a parent, then for them it would be much easier. Although I'm not saying anything difficult would not happen to them. Of course it would happen to them, but they have the support of their parents. And for children it's also really difficult, because tell them you can't tell them in the right words that this is your karma, you have to face it. They won't accept it. I've met many people, they will not accept it. So the thing is, for young people, they have to just deal with the experiences themselves until they themselves figure out that this is something that is very, very divine, very, very spiritual. It's all their own doing. And that will make them very, very mentally tough. Although I would say acceptance is key. And most importantly, this is all temporary. It's not permanent. This is all temporary. Everything is temporary. Just that should give them some relief, but they must go through the experiences themselves so that they become spiritual themselves. Because doing is it's easier said than done, right? So they have to go through the experiences themselves. I'm sure years later they will love it.
I'm sure about that too. Yeah. So, Sarthak, because your Ketu Mahadasha is almost coming to an end, and then you will have your Venus Mahadasha, which is also your ascendant lord, uh, placed in the eighth house, but in its own sign, in the Taurus sign. Are you looking forward to your Venus Dasha?
I would miss Ketu Dasha greatly, because in one advantage of Ketu Dasha is that you get to enjoy some loneliness. Because if in Venus Dasha I become popular or anything, although I don't expect it, I will get in touch with some people whom I have to interact with. So I will have friends, but the thing is, the isolation I had, the severe loneliness I had in Ketu Dasha, I would miss it. I sometimes hate being alone, but sometimes I love being alone, because it's the only place I can introspect and think about my thoughts and organize my thoughts and just enjoy life. For me, that is enjoying life. Although I have some other ambitions for Venus Dasha, that would be, for some desires that I have, to become a famous guy or something. I want to get into the acting scene, right? Because I have a lot of interest in drama. So I would be focusing on that, and I'm hoping it would come to fruition someday. Although I know my life will be easy because now that I have the wisdom to manage it.
Absolutely. And I wish the best to you, and I'm sure you will do great in your life, Sarthak.
Thank
And
you.
like your name, you will make your life Sarthak.
Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you for sharing your experience, Sarthak. I mean, before we go, are there any last words that you would like to share with our viewers?
Basically, I don't have any last words other than the fact that I would tell them to, learn about karma at least, if not astrology, because theory of karma would actually gives relief to so much people, so many people. It's all about acceptance and knowing that performing good deeds is something that is necessary for your next lifetimes as well. It's not just in this life.
Very well said.
Focus on being extremely service oriented. The more people you help, they may spit in your face at first or not, but definitely it will be stored in the universe somewhere.
Absolutely, can't agree more. And I'm amazed at the kind of maturity and wisdom that you have at such a young age. As I said, you have probably a very interesting journey ahead of you, and you will go a long way. I really do not have words to express how surprised I am to see how this young boy, since his teenage, has dealt with such disappointments and major issues in his life. Kudos to him and to his mother for dealing with it in such a positive way. And the teenager boy turned out to be such confident, uh, grounded young boy. I am pleased to see that. And I hope you got a lot of strength yourself by listening to his experience in terms of dealing with your own difficult periods, whether it's Ketu, Rahu, Saturn, Mahadasha, Sadesati, Dhaya, Saturn return, or maybe a Dasha of any other malefic planet as well. So if you like the video, do not forget to like and share and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.